Hey yo, what is up guys, my name is Max and today I'm gonna show you how you can do this. Okay, let's go. So we are going to create a geonode. I'm calling it setup. And we need to create a grid with 250 rows. And copy the parameter as relative reference. 10 by 10. So now we need to create some parameter, some attributes on this grid. So for that, I'm going to create a font node. This one. So I use a custom font. And I'm going to type total. And we need to scale it. I'm going to use a match size, scale to fit, and maybe 8. And now we need to extrude it. So for the extrude, and by 1, yeah, extrude output back. So now we need to align on the center. So to do that, I'm going to use the match size node, and on the Y, I'm going to put 0.5 offset. So now it's aligned. So now we can add another text or shape or whatever you want. So I'm going to type 01. And I'm going to scale it a bit to match the original size. Yeah, like that. So now we can use the switch node. And we need to switch from this one to the another one. So I'm going to keyframe frame 1 0, frame 24 0, and 25 1. Now I'm going to shift click this, and we can select all the keyframe. I'm going to press Alt E, and after we're going to take cycle, apply, accept. And we need as well to do it 49 at 1. So now we have a looping animation. Okay, so what we can do now, we can create some groups on this grid. Disable the base groups, point groups, and bounding region, and we use objects, and this is the object we use. So now we select some polygons by the geo we create, and I'm going to call it, so I use the $OS for naming my groups, so I'm going to call it pin groups animated, maybe animated. And with these groups, we want to create some attributes. So a create, attribute create, and we are going to call it like mask. And we select the groups we create. So if we middle mouse click on this and we click on mask, we need to also put value 1 into the mask. So we create this type of attribute. So okay, this is the base to create the effect. And now we want to also create a groups for pinning the outside. So I'm create a group node. And this one, we're going to call it pin outside. And by edges, unsure edges. And point groups as well. So now we select the outside of the grid to pin it. Okay, so now we can use a null and call it out base attributes. Okay, so I like to split the setup. So I copy this and create an object merge. So I use the OD tools shortcut to do that, but you can put object merge and just copy the object one right there, and you have the same. So yeah, this is the base. And now we want to unwrap this geonode. So unwrap this grid, sorry. UV unwrap. And spacing 0 to have a perfect UV. Now we can add more details on the mask we create. So I'm going to create a MOPS fall off, shape fall off. MOPS shape fall off. Okay. And we can just put it to multiply. I'm going to use a spherical. And fall off attribute is mask. And I'm going to put 0.5 to the fall off. So now we can play with these spheres to mask out the text and make a good animation. So I'm going to put that frame 1.01, 0.01, frame 24, because we need to loop it as well to when it's completely filled. Yeah, 0.01. So we have this type of animation. And now we want 25.001. Okay. Oh, it's 9, sorry. Okay, so we have that. And now we need to do the same as before. We select that, Alt-E, and cycle. So we have the same pattern for each text. And you can play with the curves or making a easing or something like that, but me, I stay with the linear mode. So yeah, we have that. And you can play with noise or something else to make some variation on the text, or I don't know. But for me, I stay with this. So now we can create a null as well. And we can call it out Vellum attributes. So this is the nulls we are going to use to the Vellum solver. So we can create a Vellum clause, configure clause. And I'm going to select this and put my values. So pinpoints, we want to use the pin outside. So this is these groups. We want to permanently pin these groups. So we select it in permanent mode and pin outside. What we want to do as well, I want to bump out the damping ratio of the bend stiffness. So 0.1 and 0.5. And for the bend stiffness, I use this one. And all is fine. Okay, you can play with the values to have another effect. So now we can put a Vellum solver. Okay. What we want to do in this solver, we want to dump a bit the simulation cache. We want to disable the gravity. And in the friction, I like to put 19.5 on all my simulation. And now we can dive in, I think. We play, we have nothing for now. So I'm currently looking the mask attribute, and if I'm there, you can see we have the attribute mask animated. But when we run into the solver, we don't have any animation. We stay at the frame 1. So we need to update it into the topnet. So to do that, we dive into the Vellum solver. And we can create a subsolver. And this one is for importing attributes. And we're going to create some groups as well, dynamically. So we can dive in. We need to import this null. It contains the attributes mask. So object merge you can create and ping this null. And we want to copy these attributes to the current geometry into the DOP, so we can create a copy, attribute copy. And we want to copy the mask attribute. And with this mask, we want to create some groups. So basically, we are going to create a groups. When it's red, the groups are going to grow. So we can create right there. I can show you. So group expression. And into the expression, we're going to write at mask greater than 0.1 in point mode. So basically, these groups are going to be only into the red parts. As you can see, it grows with the attribute. So we need to do the same, but into the .NET. So to do that, we need to create the attribute triangle and create group. Okay, so we are going to create the if parameter. So if the mask is greater than 0.1, we are going to, sorry, my keyboard is not the best for writing codes. Okay, my bad. So I add group underscore and we name the group, so I call it infected equals 1. So we put all the value above 0.1 into these groups. Else we don't create a group. They are not in the group. So infected as well. Infected equals 0. And okay, that's fine. So now we can back and we can create the first constraint. So I'm going to create the Vellum constraint. And this is for pin. Create pin constraint. Okay. And we're going to do it each frame and pin 2 points to target. Right there. So into this one, we're going to put the group type 2 points. So we need to refer the groups we create dynamically. So infected. And I'm going to put it in soft, and match target animation. If you didn't tick that, you don't going to have the animation. And so yeah, I just lowered this a bit. Okay. And we need to output these groups. So the groups calling pin groups and maybe pin stretch. Yeah, pin stretch. This is all I do. And now we need to create a Vellum constraint property. And we need to play with this parameter, so the stiffness parameter. So to do that, we tick the stiffness one. And we need to import, I think we didn't need. Oh yeah, we need, I think. I do it all the time because I don't know if we need to do it, but yeah. So we need to import as well the attribute. So we copy it and Control V. And use vex expression. So we need to import this parameter. So the mask attribute we import from this again. So to do that, we're going to write maybe float mask equals points. So we need to refer this slot, this input, subpass. So we are going to put points, the slot 2, because we're using input 3. So 0, 1, 2. we import the mask attribute and on all points. And after, we need to change this value. So I'm going to use stiffness. You can see the name parameter stiffness equals, and I'm going to fit it from the mask. So I'm going to put 0 and maybe 1025. Okay. So now if we add some force, maybe a pop point with a point on the Y, what we have. And also, I forgot to, in the Vellum constraint property, we need to check groups and didn't see it. I think we need to play some frames. Yeah, and pin stretch. Okay, so now we can play the animation. We have some pinning effects on the red parts. It releases it and repin again. So yeah, we have the animation of the pin constraint. So now we need to play with the Vellum rest scale attribute as well. So we're going to play with this parameter, with the rest scale. And for this, I'm going to create a Vellum constraint property as well. I'm going to call it rest scale mask. And this one is for controlling the stiffness. Control stiffness pin. And okay. So we need to import the same attribute. So input 3 subs, copy this one, and we can type the same line with the rest length scale and use vex expression. Import the same attributes, and I'm going to fit it a bit. So I'm going to call mask to revert this attribute equals fit 01 the mask, and I want the rest length scale to grow from in 1 second. So at the first frame we want a rest length scale of 1, and at 24 we want a rest length scale of 2 or whatever. So to do that, I'm using a fit at frame to refer the every frames, and we need 2 frames 0, so the frame 0 to 24 or 25, whatever. And I want my value of the rest scale of 1 to 1.3. And for the second value of the fit, we want only 0.9. So the inside, the red parts are going to shrink, and the blue parts are going to expand a bit. So this is that. So this part is for the red parts, and this one for the blue parts. So you can play with the values. And now we need to attribute this parameter, so this variable, to the rest length scale. So you can see parameter rest scale. So you type rest scale, and I like to put rest scale equals 0. And after this, I write rest scale plus equal mask. So now we play the animation. The rest length scale is growing, and on the red part is shrinking a bit. So yeah, now you can add some maybe pop drag. I like to use a value of 3 for this setup. I'm going to merge it. I take the 2 nodes and alt and drag and release it. And as well in the pop point, we can add a bit of turbulence. And for me, I use value of 2 with source size of 0.5. And this is all I do. And now we have this type of simulation. Maybe this is too low, so I'm going to put at 1 and 1. And you can play with these values, and maybe as well. Oops, full size of 2 to have a bigger movement. And we need more wind as well. 2. Okay, so now you can file cache this. So I like to delete some attributes before caching. So attribute delete. And I'm going to stay with the velocity and my mask if I want to use it in texturing. And we want to also stay with the textures, so the UV. And the rest we don't want it. So stars, except, don't want this one. Stars. To have only mask and V and UV as well. So for the points groups, we can delete all the groups. So groups delete. And I'm just going to stay with the infected. I need to do some things, but yeah. And we can put stars except infected. So if we play, yeah, maybe you can blast it after the simulation. So you can have this type of render with a hole on the geo. I don't know. You can experiment with this. And feel free to tag me on Instagram if you do something like this or you're using this setup. So now you can as well blur the... oh, sorry, we want file cache it first. I like to use the explicit node. And I'm going to just save the file on my desktop. Tutorials 01. And I'm going to call it cache. So where my file is, I'm going to create a file cache. And I'm going to call it $s. So I'm going to call it floor spin. And you can save the disk and just wait. So yeah, when we cache it, we can just smooth a bit the attribute. So attribute blur. We want to blur the mask. Proximity. Radius. And I lower this to 0.2. And I'm using 5. To have a bit of smooth cutoff. And what you can do as well, you can Vellum post-process. If you want, you can use the spatial blur to blur it a bit to have some artifacts. And you can as well subdivide it. I like to subdivide it one time there. So to loop, or not to get more clark by using polygon. And yeah, you can add some normals. Face area 180. And you can use null to specify this is the end. So RND both. Yeah, and output node, I like to use this. So now we can create another geonode. I'm going to call it cloth. And we can copy this null and create an object merge with this null there. And now we can use material. We can go to the matnet and create RS builder material. Call it class. copy this one, materials. Okay, we can create some lighting as well. With basic HDRI. And create the redshift node. Okay. This is fine for now. And we can start the render. Camera at 250. I like to use very high focal length. And for the translate, 0, minus 90, 0. And into the view. We can zoom it a bit. Maybe 60. And if you want to use these attributes to the shading, so this is pretty simple. I'm going to show you quickly. You can dive into your shader and you use a point attribute. So you have this, you can type mask right there, and you can just check it. If you didn't see it, you need to reload Redshift as well. And you can use this for material blender or anything else. So material blender. This is the first material, so 01. You can call it like that. 01 mats. And 02 mats. And this is the mask for the material blender. So now if you check with another color, like you can color it like that. So you can use to the roughness or something like that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the tutorials. Feel free to tag me if you use this setup or anything else. So see you, this is Max, bye bye.